comes, we shall be there to do business.
I work with TV3. My question is this. So, this desire that the NDC Caucus has had for a very long time, since 2020, that they were the majority in Parliament. Now you are the majority in Parliament. What do you say to those who say that, or who think that you want to be majority to frustrate government business? Is there any commitment from your side that you will support government business tomorrow henceforth?
Well, the record in the House suggests that for a very long period of time, if you check the numbers of colleagues in the House, at any time that a bill or something is tabled, it is more likely to see the NDC members in a higher number than the NPP. So the record is that we have actually supported government business, and Mr. Speaker's press conference here is a vindication of that, that we have actually cooperated with the NPP side on many things, whether they are loans, they are bills. I have here the chairman of the Environment Committee. You attest that if you follow that bill, members of the NDC were more interested and have been available in crafting that bill. It's at the third reading now. So there's no evidence that the NDC actually frustrates anything. What we would not tolerate is any bill that is intended to deepen the hardship on the people of this country. I think the Constitution and the people of this country do not expect that we should actually support any bill that will make life even more difficult for them. So as long as the bill is in the interest of improving the lot of Ghanaians, you can count on us to be in support of that.
I think that for the current numbers, 137, and with Honorable Speaker, if we wanted to sabotage government business, we would have done that right from the beginning of this Parliament, because we had the capacity to do that, even to support them to approve ministers. We could have done that, but we will know that we are here to serve Ghanaians, and that is why most of the time we compromise and then make sure that government business goes through. So it's not today that God has given us the opportunity to become a majority that we will use it against government. What we are only saying is that if they bring businesses that would benefit Ghanaians, we are ready to support them. And we are not going to use our majority to further burden Ghanaians. So that's what we are saying. And Ghanaians will testify that if we have a diabolic mind against government, nothing would have stopped us from sabotaging government business, but that is not the objective.
For example, if they were to bring a bill to fund the building of a cathedral tomorrow, and we block it, will you say we are frustrating government business or we are protecting the public against further deteriorating level of governance? So we are very clear on our mind. We will support any business that improves a lot of Ghanaians. Yes, last one.
Yeah, thank you very much. Leader, my name is Clement. There have been a lot of concerns about tensions that have actually erupted or actually been part of the 8th Parliament, which a lot of people are not happy about. Can we be assured that tomorrow, should push come to shove, we will not see anything that would further mar the beauty of our democracy, our parliamentary democracy, as we see? Thank you.
Well, I can guarantee you that I have not seen in this Parliament a situation where we are unable to peacefully or reasonably resolve issues, though I've seen in other Parliament, even in advanced Parliament, people getting physical. There's nothing like that. Nobody is planning to do anything. In any case, what would be the reason for anybody to do that? The NDC is a majority, and the reason we have majority, you know it, because 3 people from the NPP side have conducted themselves in a way that automatically takes them out of Parliament under Article 97. one person from the NDC side did the same thing, and is the same category. So what exactly is it that is in dispute here? There's nothing in dispute. That issue has already happened. The effect has already taken place. The NDC has got more members of parliament than NPP, and that is why Mr. Speaker, during his press conference, he is not the one who determines who is a majority or minority. That position comes with the numbers you have in parliament. Currently, they are less than our number, so we assumed the majority status before we're going to go into the house as the status was the last time, which is we are the majority. And I don't even think this should be a problem for government. If you want to do your business, why are you more interested in your position rather than serving the people of this country? You are a minority, and the majority is saying that you bring your business, we'll support you to do it. But you want to spend the whole time arguing as to your personal aggrandizement rather than doing the work of the people of this country. So I'm challenging them. If you love Ghana, come and let's do business on the floor with your new minority status, with our new majority status, which will support you.
My name is Nia Krukai. I report for City FM and Channel 1 TV. Would it be unlawful to have these members of parliament who have had their seats declared vacant return to the House tomorrow, and what action would you take as a chief whip of your side?
I will say that our colleagues, to be honest, our colleagues knew the journey they have traversed so far. So since they took that step, none of them have appeared in parliament. I will be surprised if they come. If they come, they will know that they are in breach of that particular portion of the Constitution. But when we get to that breach, we shall cross it.
I just want to refer to you that even the NDC Constitution, it says that when you support an independent candidate or some other, you have automatically, and the word is automatic, you have automatically forfeited your membership. So it's clear. And in any case, they themselves, they are not coming.
Thank you very much.
My name is I work for Adobe TV and Adobe. Leader, clearly the speaker spoke on this subject, and then at a point in time, he decided not to make comments on the case that is before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court was clear in its ruling and asking the speaker to stay the decision before the ruling. And you're saying that you are going to occupy the rightful place as the majority. Won't this action tomorrow amount to contempt of?
First of all, it is not the Supreme Court that determines the numbers in Parliament. The numbers are determined by the number of members of Parliament that Ghanaians have voted to come to Parliament. The Constitution of Ghana is bigger than the Supreme Court, the President, and Parliament. The Constitution says when you take certain actions in contravention of Article 71 and 97(1), you have lost your seat or your membership of Parliament. I am not entirely sure what is in dispute here, and as I said, we are not here to interpret or to do anything about whatever our Supreme Court said or did not say. I am aware that the NDC majority caucus in Parliament has more members than the NPP, and that is what we are working with. As for whatever is in court, the caucuses are not in court on any condition, and Mr. Speaker has already told you. Mr. Speaker doesn't show us where to sit in the chamber. We sit in the chamber based on our numbers. So I think leave the court issues to the people who are interested in the court issues. Let's do our work in Parliament. And I don't foresee, and I dread a day where I will have to do my work as a member of Parliament because somebody at a court decide how I conduct myself as a member of Parliament in this Parliament. That would have been worse than being a Parliament of a country I don't want to mention. But I believe the Supreme Court is guided by the fact that Parliament of Ghana, representatives of the people, actually is in business. Parliament is not shut down. That is why we are actually going to go to the chamber tomorrow. So those who have fears of Parliament not working or Parliament has been suspended or anything, it's not true. We regularly come and we regularly go on adjournment. We went on adjournment, we are back again. Whatever will happen tomorrow will happen, but the Parliament of Ghana must remain supreme as the symbol of democracy. The symbol of democracy in every country is not the existence of the Supreme Court, because there are courts in Saudi Arabia. Not the existence of the executive, because we have executive in Saudi Arabia. The symbol of democracy, or the health of democracy in every country, is the health of Parliament. And we will not toy with the health of the Parliament of Ghana, because that is what sustains the democracy we are all growing to be, a democracy that is sustainable and mature. Thank you.
Roger Iti from Ghana Web. Still on the Supreme Court, the Speaker in his address today alluded to a seeming collision between the executive and the judiciary to undermine the authority of Parliament. Is it an assertion that you share in, and what would be the justification for such an assertion?
The Speaker has made his point. I have no business interpreting. I don't want to become a kind of a mini Supreme Court in myself, trying to interpret what the Speaker has said. He said it in a very clear language, and I would like it to remain as such.
All right, you're welcome back. This is Channel 1 Television. Just gone by was the NDC Caucus in Parliament addressing the media. And of course, the takeaway there is that the NDC insists on majority status in the House of Parliament. That presser was addressed by the Chief Whip for the side, Governs Abuja. Let's continue and bring you some news items here on Channel 1 Television. This is Newsfeed. And the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has underscored the far-reaching implications of the ongoing Supreme Court case concerning parliamentary authority and its impact on Ghana's democratic governance. The case arose from a lawsuit filed by Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin, who sought judicial clarification on the Speaker's declaration of 4 parliamentary seats as vacant. Now, recently, the Supreme Court issued a stay on Bagbin's initial ruling, temporarily halting his decision. Addressing journalists in Accra on Wednesday, November 6, Bagbin stressed that the case has the potential to shape future precedents on the separation of powers, with significant consequences for the balance of authority between Parliament and the judiciary. Now, we're joined on phone by Dr. Rashid Draman, Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, to speak on this matter. Thank you so much for joining us, Doc. First off, I'll take your initial thoughts on the comments of the Speaker, and then also I'll have you comment on whether or not you got the indication of the Speaker making a decision or a ruling regarding the direction by the court.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. If I may start with what I make of the comments from the Right Honorable Speaker. I thought, first of all, he was very calm. I'm sure many expected kind of a confrontational, posture. But I saw him very calm, and he tried to explain the matters that are bordering the relationship between Parliament and the 2 other arms of government in a clear manner as he can. Particularly, the scenes, if I can call them that way, because those are his words, the scenes of the executive, I think, against the Constitution, and then the scenes of the judiciary against the Constitution, where he said, for instance, there is nowhere in the Constitution that the President can even veto. He said the framers of our Constitution decided to take away that power from the President, but the President refused to even accept the word that was coming from Parliament, which is, I think, against the Constitution. He also, in a very clear manner, and that's the view that some of us hold, talked about, the Supreme Court or judicial review is possible, but only when Parliament has finished its work, so that the judiciary would come in. And indeed, in fact, that's the view that some of us hold in terms of, the issues of separation of powers and how to make sure that, Parliament in future doesn't get immobilized because somebody doesn't like what is happening. Even before Parliament finishes its work, they run to the court. And for me, that is a precedent that we have to try as much as possible, to manage. Because look, they are politicians because we need them to sit down and talk. They are politicians because they have to always negotiate. So that every little difficulty, if you don't want to sit down and talk to your opponent, then you run to the court. You are, inviting the court too much into your space, and tomorrow the court might do something, and then you find yourself maybe in a very difficult situation, and then you want to complain. Then you would have set the precedent already. So I thought the Right Honorable Speaker tried to explain all these things. But fundamentally, coming back to the rulings and so on and his position, I think they asked him, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow? He said he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And he also said that negotiations never took place. And that's what some of us have been saying. The legal approach alone cannot resolve this issue. And you heard from the NDC, their press conference right now.
Yeah.
So it looks as if nobody was talking behind the scenes. Nobody was getting these two sides to sit down and negotiate and tell them that is exactly what we expect you to do in the first instance. And then when it becomes intractable, when it becomes like maybe you are not willing to talk,
right,
then maybe other kind of approaches can come in. But even before any attempt at talking, we invite the court into the space of Parliament. So I think all in all, my summary of it all is that all is not well. We still are going to have some serious challenges tomorrow.
Very well, Doc. Unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here, but thank you so much for your time. We'll reach out to you again in our subsequent bulletins for further discussions regarding Parliament and, of course, parliamentary proceedings. Thank you so much for your time. Dr. Rashid Draman is the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs at SEPA. Let's move away from that to some other stories. And inflation for October 2024 has risen slightly to 22.1%, up from 21.5% in September. This increase was driven by a rise in both food and non-food inflation. This marks the second consecutive month of rising inflation after 5 months of a downward trend. Despite the government's target to reduce inflation to 15% by the end of the year, risks remain elevated with only 1 month left. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Anim with the announcement.
Consumer Price Index for the month of October 2024 stood at 237.8 relative to 195.2 for the same time period in October 2023. In October 2024, Consumer Price Index stood at 237.8 relative to 195.2 for October 2023. Given these two indices over a one-year period, year-on-year rate of inflation for the month of October 2024 stood at 22.1%. In October 2024, year-on-year rate of inflation stood at 22.1%. This means that between October 2023 and October 2024, general price levels of goods and services went up by 22.1%. This rate of inflation of 22.1% indicates a 0.6 percentage point increase between the rate that was recorded for September 2024. In September 2024, annual rate of inflation stood at 21.5, and in the month of October 2024, the rate of inflation has inched up by 0.6 percentage point for October 2024.
This is your Election Bureau. Let's do some election-related stories now. President Akufo-Addo has urged Ghanaians not to vote for John Mahama and the National Democratic Congress, NDC, in the upcoming December elections, claiming it would lead to the country's retrogression. And according to him, John Mahama and the NDC have no new plans to offer the nation. During a meeting with the chiefs and elders of the Western North region, Nana Akufo-Addo stressed that Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia represents the new hope for Ghana, urging voters to support the ruling New Patriotic Party.